Ancient Ethiopia and Arabia's secret cultural exchange. See, a lot of people don't realize or understand that there was interaction between those two nations. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. The interaction between Ethiopia and Arabia spans several millennia, and some people asking, was there any trade or interaction between um, ancient Ethiopia and Arabia? See, when we hear the word trade, we would naturally assume that is there's some economic trade or free market, some kind of market going on. Uh, this wasn't just a financial exchange. This wasn't just a financial thing, y'all. So trade that is rooted in this is rooted in geographic proximity. That was right next to each other. There's religious exchanges. There was political alliances. These interactions influence the development of societies in both regions, and it has significant impact on culture, language, religion, as well as economics. So we're going to get into it. So as you can see the map right here, there's a map. You have the Red Sea right here, which separates the Arabian Peninsula and Africa, right? So this served as a natural conduit or a natural uh, place of trade and cultural exchange between Ethiopia and Arabia. But back then, keep in mind, Ethiopia was back then was called Axum, AXUM, Axum. So shout out to the fam. So let's go. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. This is Cam and Ujumbe podcast. We're talking about the the uh the secret trade between ancient Ethiopia and ancient Arabia. Let's go. All right, now here's the early trade routes right here. Okay, you see the Arabian Peninsula right here on the right and Africa on the left. The earliest interactions were primarily through trade, which flourished as early as the first millennium BC or before Common Era. So, um, Axum controlled some of the most important trade routes, okay, between the Roman Empire and India. So Ethiopia was that bridge, was that major power at the time. So they had all the cards, so they had all the posts. Arabian merchants sailed along the Red Sea and trading goods, and so they did a lot of trading. They did a lot of work among each other, with each other, right? So both Ethiopian and Arabian merchants sailed along the Red Sea trading goods like, get this, spices. They traded spices, they traded gold, religious knowledge. You know they had to do that. And frankincense and myrrh. Okay, so they traded a lot of goods and services among and with each other. And not only frankincense and myrrh, but ivory as well as, unfortunately, slaves, prisoners of war, people who lost battles and things like that. So we can't gloss over this. That and the reality is there is still an East African slave trade that is going on. Okay, we can't just gloss over history and look at it through rose-colored glasses. The reality is slavery was happening, and people were enslaving other ethnic groups and other cultures. All right, so that's what they traded. That's the things they traded. Once again, they traded spices, they traded gold, religious knowledge. So this was more than economics. This was more than money. This was information, right? Now, there was some linguistic, cultural connection. Okay, some of the Ujumbe fam, shout out to the fam out there. They asked about the linguistic connections in the area. There were some interactions through words. All right. So they left cultural exchanges, left traces in the languages of both regions. Both sides benefited. Right. Let's get into it. Now, the Ge'ez script used in ancient Ethiopia shows connections, get this, connections with the South Arabian script, pointing to significant early cultural exchange. So the language was connected. The Ge'ez is the liturgical language of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, shares roots in Semitic languages like Arabic. So so this culture is rooted in the language. So, and to my understanding, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but the people of Yemen still have their root words. Some of their root words are Amharic or Ge'ez? Let me know. Okay, of course there was Sabian interaction. Located in Yemen, founded the kingdom of Sheba. All right, they have strong Cushite roots, or at least were heavily influenced by Cushite culture. We talked about this before. Check out the previous video on that. There's a natural connection because they're right next to each other. There was a natural connection between the Sabians and the large Ethiopian cultural sphere, and contends that their advancements in trade, agriculture, architecture were derived from the Kushite people. Now, I'm gonna say this: if you want me to discuss the Sabian kingdom, comment below. Let me know. But yeah, Yemen and Sheba, Exum was next door neighbors, so they did interact. So there was some cultural interaction, there was some religious knowledge, there was language interaction. All right. Now, of course, we got to get into it. There was some religious interaction. You know, we had to do that. We know we had to do it. All right. Now, this was the pre-Islamic period. Okay, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. Shout out to the fam. Before the rise of Islam, Ethiopia was already a Christian kingdom, officially converting Christianity in the around about the 4th century under King Ezana of Arabia. On the other hand, there was a mix of there was polytheistic groups and, of course, the Judeo-Christians out there, the Jewish nations in Ethiopia. Okay, so during this period, Ethiopia played a significant role in the Christianization of Arabia. So the 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 Ethiopian Orthodox Church has been around for a very long time. And so one of the most notable examples was the story of Abada, a Christian Ethiopian general who ruled Yemen, which is part of Arabia, was a province of Ethiopia at the time, in the 6th century after the Axumite conquest. The Hamorite nation, Abarha, built a grand church in Yemen, to challenge the Kaaba's religious significance in Mecca. Okay, the story is preserved in Islamic tradition, particularly the year of the elephant. Okay, and when Abarha attempted to attack Mecca, ended in failure. Okay, which coincides with the birth of the Prophet Muhammad. Now, I'm gonna tell you this though. I was told, tell me if I'm wrong. I was told that the Ark of the Covenant is in Ethiopia. Okay, if you guys know, tell me in the comments. Okay, let me know in the comments. And should we discuss the Ethiopian history and its connection to the Ark of the Covenant? I'm interested. I'm for it, but y'all let me know. Okay. So yeah, they did have some religious interaction there. Okay, now the rise of Islam in that area. Okay, the rise of Islam in the 7th century created a new dimension in the interaction between Ethiopia and Arabia. When the early Muslim community faced persecution in Mecca, the Prophet Muhammad instructed some of his followers to seek refuge in the Christian kingdom of Exum, led by the king or Nagus Ashama ibn Abjar. Okay, there is some cultural interaction, even in religion, where the people, the followers of Muhammad, found refuge in Ethiopia. All right. And so the king offered asylum, and this event is known as the first hijrah, or the first migration. This is a significant moment in Islamic history because if it was not for the kindness of African people, Islam would not be where it is today. Okay, let's have this discussion. Okay, now think about this, y'all. The Ethiopia had its own empire. So the Zagwe and the Solomon dynasties were those empires. So during the medieval period, Ethiopia experienced significant political and religious development, particularly in the rise of the Zagwe dynasty and later the Solomonic dynasty. The Solomonic rulers claimed descent from King Solomon of Israel and the Queen of Sheba, which she did exist. Makeda was a real person. So reinforcing religious legitimacy in both Ethiopian and Arabian contexts. So shout out to the fam in Sudan and Ethiopia. The Solomon dynasty also engaged in periodic conflicts and to maintain their power. And so, like I said, if you want me to go into the discussion with the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church and talk about the Ark of the Covenant, comment below because I'm for it. But remember, these interactions were more than financial. These interactions was about culture, was about language, and just life. All right. So here's the impact. There was trade between Arabia and other parts of the ancient world. The role of Cushite people in facilitating this commerce is and was essential. Yemen bridged the gap between Africa and Asia. The ancient trade routes that passed through Arabia connecting Africa, Asia, and Europe were, according to Houston and many others, initially controlled by the Cushite people. So, yeah, these interactions were important, and we still need to work with each other. We still need to handle each other right, okay, and to treat each other with respect, right? All right, now I'm done. But then coming up, Queens of the South, latest of the North and South. And speaking of the Queen, my grandmother, special shout out to my grandmother. She, as of today, November 4th, she is again 21 years old. So we did celebrate her last weekend, and we had a great time. So much love to my grandmother, Mama Anita. This special shout out to you. And so I really am thankful for my family. I'm thankful for the people. And we're going to continue. Let's go. We're going to continue our next book, the first female pharaoh, Sebek Neferu, goddess of the 7 stars. The link is in the description. What's next? We're almost done with the book. We will discuss chapters 11 through 13. Babylon. Babylon is next. Babylon is next. For more on Ancient Cush and Babylon, check out Sister Danita Smith, Yaya Shabaka, AE Learning. Shout out to the fam out there. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to ask questions. Ask me questions. If you don't ask questions, we don't get answers. Got to learn together. All right. Here's some more books: Arabia and the Arabs, and of course, The History of Ethiopia by Harold Marcus, Makeda, Queen of Sheba, and the Kebba Nagast. All right. Ancient Ethiopia and Arabia's secret cultural exchange. All right. I will talk to you later and have a good one.